right. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to your Wednesday afternoon yoga session. For anybody that doesn't already know me, my name is Janessa. I am joining you from New York, from the East Coast, and it's live in the evening here for me. So for anybody who hasn't been here with me before, just a quick little idea of what to expect. So we're going to go through a vinyasa flow style of yoga. So you'll be matching your breath with your movements. Sometimes we're very vigorous. Sometimes we're a little bit slower. Today we'll probably take it a little more easy. We will end in what's called Shavasana, or a pose of rest. And don't let it fool you, it's just as important. So if you have the time and the space, try to stay for the whole experience. I will also use Sanskrit terms for poses, but I'll always follow it up with the English term. And I'll try to use English words to explain where to put your body parts, and how to move into the poses. And I'll always instruct you on where you're supposed to breathe, where you're supposed to inhale, where you're supposed to exhale. And I'll also be demonstrating, right? So if we were in person together, I'd probably just walk around and observe. But since we're online together, I'll be flowing with you. So wherever you are, let's get ready for our practice. So we're going to start off on our back. So if you happen to have somewhere in your house nearby a towel or a blanket, something that you can fold up and maybe roll up, and it doesn't have to be super strict. This blanket I'm making it like a rectangle, and I'm going to fold it in half, and then I'm going to put it down. And what I would like for you to see if you can do is come to lay down on this blanket or towel. So that way the top of it is falling right underneath your underarms. And then extend the legs out, and your arms can come out by your sides. So it's really incorporating a little bit of a supported back bend for you. So it can be, like I said, a blanket. It could be a towel. Even if you have a pillow off of your bed, you can just give it a little bit of a squish. Something that resembles this shape. Maybe a couch cushion, whatever it is. So I'll give you just a moment to grab something. No worries. Try not to feel a little too frazzled. We'll be here for a little bit. So wherever it is you are, if you're already in that shape, if you're looking for something to use, that's fine. If you don't have any of those things handy, it's okay. Come to lay down on your back. So we're starting in Shavasana and ending in Shavasana. So come to lay down, right? We're going to adjust ourselves. So the top of the blanket or towel or whatever it is you're choosing is going to be in the middle to upper part of your back, kind of right underneath your shoulder blades. And see where it feels good for you to have your arms. So I'm going to let my arms come out by my sides, like you're opening up wings. Sometimes it also feels good to let them slide up and extend, reach over your head. So you'll notice it feels a little bit different in your shoulders and in your chest, depending on where you choose to leave your arms. Your legs can be straight out, right? They can be straight out. If it feels more comfortable, you can bring your legs to a bend, bring the soles of your feet to the ground. You can also heel toe your feet out. So they're a little bit further apart from each other than your hips. And you can even let your knees kind of knock in together and lean in on one another. So there's a few different options for you to feel comfortable. And then once you've found that space, that position that feels nicest in your body, allow yourself to be in it, right? To really settle in. Start to breathe more deeply, a little bit more slowly. Right, maybe you had a long school day that just ended. This time gets to be just for you. And so even though I may be telling you what to do, know that you are always empowered to make the decisions for your time, for your body. So if anything that I offer, anything I suggest is not right for you, you are always the one with the control and power to change it. So breathe in more deeply. Feel your belly expand and the space all around your heart rise. And then when you exhale, feel your belly deflate. Feel your heart gently fall. And continue on, continue breathing. Keep your focus on that breath. Notice all of the feeling in your body as your belly once again fills with air, as do your lungs, your diaphragm expands. And then notice how it feels for all of that to reverse out, to feel that letting go sensation. Notice if you are holding on to any tension in your body. Right? So maybe you hold stress in your shoulders, in your neck, maybe your hips or lower back. As you are breathing, imagine you breathe in and you're able to breathe in specific emotions. Imagine you can bring in calmness. Imagine if you can bring in peace or happiness. And when you breathe out, imagine you're pulling like a straw, all of those things in your body that aren't helping you out in this moment, right? So maybe that is stress, maybe that is anxiety, maybe it's worry about a test or an assignment, or even something else. Imagine those letting go breaths, letting go of the air that's in your lungs. Imagine you're letting go of all of those other things too. All of your focus on that breathing. Breathing in all good things and breathing out all of the things that you no longer need. Right? So sometimes we feel our emotions in our body first, right? So they're warning signals. Maybe that worry sends a reminder to your mind to do something, right? Maybe you have an assignment that you have to finish by a certain time. But in these next 60 minutes, this is your time to relinquish worry, to release anything that is on your to-do list. And you get to be just with yourself, really feeling every experience, being in your body. I know that you can come back to this kind of breath anytime. Long, deep breath, inhale in, and then long, deep breath, exhale out. And when you exhale out, let everything go. You can walk down the halls of your house, down the street, in the grocery store, and you could practice this. Good. So let's let this be the final breath. And I'd like to offer an intention for this practice. And it's to just stay in the moment, right? If you feel your mind wandering, come back to the sensation of your breath and the movement of your body. So the next time you inhale, let's roll over onto one side. So it can be your right, it can be your left. You can bend your knees and bring your feet to the ground if they aren't already there, and roll over. So maybe you want to move the blanket or towel or whatever you've chosen out of the way. And if you were flat on the ground, that's fine too. We're going to come to our pose, fetal pose, Garbhasana, the pose of rebirth. So we've been for a little while with our backside and a supported back bend. So returning to this pose will help neutralize our spine. And take a few breaths. Good. And on the next breath, take a big inhale and use your hand, draping your heart, to press up and come into your Sukhasana, your easy seat, which is just crisscrossed. And that blanket that you were using, whatever it was, you can gently put it off to the side. Good. Come into your easy seat. And we'll start to awaken our spine a little bit, right? So we're in that back bend, and we'll start moving our spine in a few different directions. So that way, not only are we signaling to our minds that it's time to move, but we are preparing our spine, preparing our body for our asana, the physical practice of yoga. So we'll be seated in our easy seat. You can place your hands to cup your knees or even just to the top of your thighs, and we'll take Sufi circles or Sufi grinds. So as you inhale, start right at the center. And as you exhale, start to come around towards your knee. Press your heart forward gently, and then bring the front of your body to the other side of your knee. Exhale and circle backwards. You can bring a bit of a doming to your back, a rounding to your back. And as you inhale, start to come through the front. So you can make this as dramatic as you wish. You can make it as subtle as you'd like. So we're really moving on our own orbit right here. Try to keep your sit bones, the bones and the meaty part of your bottom. Try to keep them on the earth. And we're moving through the spine. Match your movement with your breath. So if you're taking long, slow breaths, take long, slow circles. Maybe you feel like you want to go a little faster. You can do that. Start moving around the axis. Still try to match your breath, right? Press your heart forward as you come forward. Press it back as you come back. So you decide what pace feels good for you. Last one in this direction. The next time you inhale, come right through the center and reach the crown of your head up. Exhale all the air out, and now we'll move in the opposite direction. As you inhale, start coming towards the opposite knee. Press the heart forward, and exhale, find a circle behind you. Now take these revolutions. Move in the other direction, and notice how your spine is moving forward and backward and side to side as you move through these circles. Good. Try to bring your focus not just to your breath, but to the space right in front of your heart. And all along the spine, we have our 7 main chakras or our energy centers. And right in the space, in the heart space, is our heart chakra. And the heart chakra is associated with, as you would imagine, love and compassion and joy. Inhale, come back to center. Oh, my pup is paying us a visit. And now come to all fours, our tabletop pose. Go ahead, go lay down. Bring your wrists under your shoulders. Bring your knees under your hips. We'll take a couple of rounds of cat and cow. Right, so inhale, curl your toes, lift your gaze up, and let your belly drop towards the ground. Notice how your heart starts to slide between the window frame of your arms. And then exhale, release the tops of your feet, round your back, let your chin come in towards your chest. Cat pose. And then inhale, cow pose. Keep the elbows straight, lift your eyes upward, let your heart reach forward, finds the arch of the back. Cow pose. Exhale, cat. Round the back, chin in, top of the head releases. Inhale, cow. Good. One more each direction. Exhale, cat pose. Feel all the sensation along your back as you move into cat pose. And then feel it along the front of your body. Lengthen the front of your body as you move into cow. Inhale, come back to the tabletop, neutral spine. Good. So we're going to come into a pose called thread the needle. Your hips are going to stay right over your knees. We'll start on the left side. Press your right hand into the ground, and when you inhale, let your left fingertips float upward. You can gaze towards your fingers as you do so. And then as you exhale, take the left hand, take the left arm, slide it underneath the right. Bring the top of your hand to the floor, slide, keep sliding through until your left shoulder meets the ground. And then your left temple, left cheek. So you can stay right here. You also have the option of sliding your right hand forward on the floor, reaching over your head. And perhaps notice if you feel that in your rotary cuff, right? Around the shoulder blade, anywhere in the shoulders, possibly in your underarm. So for me, in my body, I feel this in the space around my right shoulder blade, underneath my right underarm. I also feel it between my shoulder blades. So if you'd like, you can also intensify this a little bit by walking your right hand towards the left side. So if you're using a mat, it would be towards the left side of the mat. And maybe you notice that opens your shoulders up a little bit, opens your chest up a little bit towards the right. Try to keep the hips in alignment. So I know it's real easy for me to want to let my hips sway towards the right. But if you keep them aligned over one another, you may feel that opening a little bit more. And twists are associated with the chakra, the energy center that is located in your solar plexus, so about an inch or two above your belly button. And that chakra is associated with your personal power, with your self-confidence, your power center, that is. So if you walked your hand over to the left, walk it back towards the right, slide it back underneath the right shoulder. We're going to unthread the needle. Inhale, slide the left arm out, and we're going to reach it up for a counter pose. Float the left fingertips up towards the ceiling, and then exhale, let the left hand come back down to the ground. All right, you got that? We're going to do that on the right side. Inhale, press the left hand into the ground. Right hand floats upward. You can bring your gaze to follow it. On your exhale, swoop it down and sweep it underneath the left arm, threading the needle on this side. Keep sliding the top of your hand and the forearm on the ground until your right shoulder reaches the earth, your right cheek and the temple touch the ground. You can keep your left hand on your left shoulder. You also have the option of sliding it up on this side too, right? And remember to breathe. On the other side, we walked our hand towards the left. Here you can take your fingers and inch them towards the right if that intensifies the opening feeling in your shoulders a little bit more. Maybe notice how that opens the upper part of your body towards the left side of the space that you're in, left side of your room. The chakra in your solar plexus, the Sanskrit name for it is Manipura. It's associated with the color of yellow. We talked before about the heart chakra. That chakra's name is Anahata. And even though it's the space of love, which we often associate with the color of red or pink, the heart chakra is associated with green. So we walked your hand towards the right. Let's bring it back towards the left. Slide your hand back under your left shoulder. Take an inhale, press your palm into the ground and let the right arm slide out. Let it float upward for a counter twist. And exhale your hand back down to the ground. Good. Let's take one more cat and cow. Inhale, tuck your toes, lift your eyes, slide your heart forward and feel the arch in your back for cow pose. Then exhale to your cat, release the tops of your feet, round your back. Imagine each vertebra is rippling up. Let your chin come in towards your chest. Exhale for cat. Then inhale, come back to your table pose. Good. So we're going to bring a lot of our focus to our heart, to the Anahata chakra, our heart space. I thought we'd do that since we're coming up on Valentine's Day on Saturday. So we'll move through a spinal balance, sometimes called a sunbird. So find your foundation in your table pose. Inhale, lift your right leg behind you. Let it float up to about as high as your hip. Keep your foot flexed so your toes are facing downward. Good. And now let your left arm float up. So now you're in like one long line. Grow even a little bit longer. Press your heel backward. Reach your fingertips forward. Keep your gaze down towards the mat or down towards the ground so that you're not compressing your neck, your cervical spine, the back of your neck. Grow nice and long. And then exhale, let your hand come back to the ground, your knee come back to the ground. So on the other side. Inhale, the left leg floats up now. Comes right as high as your hip. The right arm follows. Press your heel backward. Reach your fingertips forward. So find that length, right? Really feel yourself expand from the front to the back to the front. Like you've got energy coiling all through your body. And then exhale, float it down. Good. We're going to add on a little bit more to that. Inhale, let the right leg float up. The left arm reaches up. As you exhale, crunch them in towards one another. The left elbow reaches the right knee underneath your heart. And then inhale and extend them out. Exhale, tap the knee to the elbow. Press into the right hand for a little clearance between your body and the floor. Inhale and extend. Exhale and tap. Inhale and reach out. Good. Let's come to a tiger pose. So you have the option of Staying here, you can also reach your left arm back to reach for the inner part of your right foot. So your hand will clasp where your right arch is. Once you've got hold of your foot, kick your foot into your hand. Keep facing forward. Imagine your heart is reaching forward. Kick into your hand a little bit more. It helps to keep the foot flexed here. It's like a little lever on your hand. Kick, kick, kick. Good. Without slingshotting your leg back, let it come back to hip height. Reach your arm forward, reach your leg behind you, and then exhale them down to the floor. Good. Let's take another cat and cow. Maybe it feels good to start with your cow first. So inhale and round the back. And then exhale to cow pose, arch the back. Let's do one more. Inhale, round the back, cat pose. Exhale, cow pose. Good. Come back to your tabletop. Let's now do that on the other side. Inhale and let your left leg lift up to hip height. Reach the right arm forward. We'll find those little crunches on this side. Exhale, elbow to knee. Really pay attention to where they are around the heart space. Press away from the ground. And then inhale, reach the arm out, reach the leg out. Exhale, tap them again, crunching them in. Inhale and extend them out. Exhale, find that little bit of a tap right under the heart. Inhale, reach out the arms, the leg. Let's take the tiger stretch on the other side. Right arm reaches back for the left foot. So it might take a little bit of maneuvering, right? Grab the inner arch of the left foot. Really press into the top of your right foot for a little bit of balance. Once you've got that, press, kick your left foot into your hand. Keep your gaze looking forward. So on this side, you can probably see a little better the arching in my back, the back bend in this tiger pose. Continue to breathe. Don't hold the breath. Maybe notice how one side, the balance or your strength feels differently than the other side. That's often common. Good. Let's exhale without flying the limbs loose. Come back to our spinal balance, our sunbird, and then exhale back to table pose. If you'd like, you can take another cat-cow. Good. Come to your table pose. Walk your hands about a hair in front of where they are now. Take a deep inhale in. Exhale, downward facing dog. Tuck your toes. Press your hips upward so you look like an upside down V. Your fingers are spread wide and facing forward. Shoulder blades slide up your back. Reach your heels down towards the ground. So it's okay if they don't touch, right? We just want to kind of aspire to reach the heels towards the ground. Maybe you feel the tugging on the back of the hamstrings. If that feels like it's really uncomfortable, like almost painful, you can bring a bend to your knees. Big inhale in. Let it go. Cleansing breath. Good. If you'd like, you can take some movements here. Sometimes it feels good when it's your first down dog, maybe wiggling your hips or dancing it out, walking your dog. They sometimes say to pedal your feet and your knees. I'm starting to feel the snap, crackles, and pops in my joints as I do that. I don't know if you can hear it, if it's carrying over to there. So get some of those fidgets out, right? And then come back to your downward facing dog. Come to a place where you feel really still. And you can come back to the concentration of your breath. Take an inhale, look up toward your thumbs. And roll forward into a high plank. Good. Exhale and press back into your downward facing dog. Inhale, come to a high plank. So bring your shoulders to shift over your wrists. Find rounding at the top of your back, right? So notice if you are kind of sagging down, take a look at the difference between my high plank. If you're kind of like slumping into your shoulders, there's a lot of pressure in your lower back, your core isn't really engaged. But if you are trying to press the floor away from you, bring your belly button to reach in towards your spine. Spread your shoulder blades apart, almost like when you're in your cat pose. And your hips are either in line with your shoulders or just below. And you press your inner thighs together. And maybe if you've been here with me for all these seconds, you're starting to feel your body resist and shake. Exhale, downward facing dog. Sigh it out. Good, inhale, roll forward once again. Plank pose, and then we'll come to upward facing dog. So press the heart forward. So now you're going to let your hips sink. Bring the tops of your feet to the mat, but keep pressing into the hands. Roll your shoulder blades back, down your back. So you're not just flopping your thighs onto the ground, you're actually pressing your legs up off of the earth, looking forward. Bring your shoulder blades in towards one another. Then exhale to downward facing dog again. Come to your high plank and then press your hips upward. Good. Inhale, look forward. And as you exhale, step forward and come to a forward fold when your feet meet the space where your hands are. The top of your head, reach down towards the ground. Inhale, rise up towards the sky. Exhale, bring your hands to your heart. Inhale, arms rise for an upward salute or Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, float all the way down to the earth, forward fold. Inhale, lift halfway. For half lift, lengthen along your back. Exhale and fold. One more. Inhale, rise up. Root down through your feet. Rise up towards the sky. Exhale, hands come to your heart. Inhale, arms rise. Exhale, fold, swan dive down to the earth. Inhale, lift halfway. Exhale, this time step back. Place both hands on the ground. Step both feet back. Come to your high plank. Exhale, lower your body down to the earth. Turn your elbow creases to face forward so you can bend at your elbows. Keep your elbows right by your ribs. Lower your entire body to the earth. Untuck your toes and inhale for cobra pose, Bhujangasana. Press into your hands. Still keep those elbows by the ribs. Raise your eyes. Raise your heart. Remember how we did in our upward facing dog a moment ago? Roll your shoulders down your back. Maybe even lift one more rib off of the earth. Keep your glutes tight, right? Turn those on. You can even reach back. Give them a little bit of a tap. Do they feel like they're working? Good. So go ahead and breathe here. We're going to float here for a moment. The tops of your feet can press into the ground for a little bit of balance. Feel your pelvic bone and your pubic bone press into the earth. And as they press into the earth, maybe you see that it gives you a little bit more lift in your heart space. One more breath. You might even be able to float your hands in this cobra, right? If you can float your hands, that's like, you know that everything here is working. But if you can't float your hands, it's okay if it's not accessible to you today. That's cool. It's just a little bit of an exercise. Let's come to our downward dog again. Exhale, hips press up. So maybe you take that in a step, press up with the knees on the ground first, and then press your hips up, or maybe you press up into that high plank and then into downward facing dog. Big breath in, big breath out. Then inhale, raise your right leg for three-legged dog. As you exhale, bend your knee, start to roll it under your heart like we did earlier. Start to shift the shoulders forward, pause. Good. We're gonna come to a low lunge. Step the right foot forward, bring it close to your right hand. So maybe you can step it forward. Maybe it takes a few steps to get there. Maybe you take your right hand and give it a little bit of an assist. Come to a low lunge. Bring your right knee over your ankle. So we don't want to be overextending or too far up because that's a totally different pose. Low lunge. The hands can be on the ground. They could even be on a block, which I don't have handy. Your fingertips can be on the earth. You can even float. Try to keep the spine and neck long. The left heel is high over the ball mound of the foot, like as if you were in super high heels. Good. We're going to come to our warrior one. So swivel the back foot down to the ground. It's going to be at a 45-degree angle. Inhale, rise up over. The arms come up over, reach up. So remember in our warrior one, Virabhadrasana one, the feet are on two separate tracks. They're not totally in line with one another. If this doesn't feel good in your shoulders, your hands can come to your hips. And that actually gives you a little bit of info for your brain. You can notice if your hips are maybe opening up a little towards the right, towards the left. If they are, you can take your left hand and gently press your left hip forward. So notice if the creases in your hips are both facing forward in the same direction. Good. Exhale, let your hands float down. Interlace them behind your back. Notice your elbows will be bent. And then when you inhale, straighten your elbows, press your heart forward. Right? Again, we're bringing our attention to our heart space, to the energy center that houses our feelings of love and care and compassion. And notice that we're pressing our heart forward. So it takes a sense of vulnerability to sit in some of those feelings. As you exhale, you can bow forward for a humble warrior. So you can take this as far as you'd like it. Maybe this is where you stop. If it's accessible in your body, maybe even slide your shoulder down the inside of your right knee and let the top of your head surrender down towards the earth. Wherever you are, continue to press your weight evenly into both feet. Then inhale and rise, come back to warrior one, reach upward. Exhale, let both hands come down to the earth. Frame your right foot, step back for plank pose, high plank or palakasana. Take a deep inhale in here. So you've got two options to lower to the ground. You can exhale, lower all the way to the belly, or move through chaturanga, which is like a half push-up. Just slightly shift forward, bend at the elbows, come down halfway. So the elbows are kind of in a 90-degree angle. You can lift up as you inhale to your upward facing dog, or if you're on your belly, you can inhale to your cobra pose. So two options. And whichever one you've opted for, exhale to downward facing dog. Nicely done. Inhale, lift your left leg. Exhale, bend the knee, bring your knee towards your heart and shift forward. Hover there for a moment. Good, we're gonna come to our warrior one now on the left side. Step the left foot forward towards the left hand. Good. Pivot on the right foot. Remember the toes are gonna be facing the right side of the space that you're in. Inhale and rise up. Warrior one. Maybe you need to adjust where your feet are. Find the base of your balance. As you exhale, float the hands down, interlace right behind your back. Clasp your fingers, straighten the elbows, shine that heart forward. So you bring your shoulder blades towards one another. Notice if your shoulders are real tense and they're reaching towards the under part of your ears, try to let them soften down the back, right? So then you're going to spread even more broadly across the chest. Take an inhale, grow a little bit longer. And as you exhale, start to bow for humble warrior. So again, you can come halfway. You can come a little bit lower. You can even slide down further. So find the location that works for you in your body. And really, we're just being in a place of humility, right? Humble warrior, non-aggressive, but doing what's right, what's loving, what's compassionate, what's humble. Inhale, rise back up, release your hands. Warrior one, reach up through the fingertips. And then exhale for plank pose. Float your hands all the way down. Frame your left foot. Plank pose, step the left foot back to meet the right. Big inhale at the top of your plank pose. Remember, you have the option of lowering in either way that works for you. Exhale, come down to the belly or through chaturanga, this half push-up. Inhale, upward facing dog or cobra pose. Exhale, downward facing dog. Very good. Release your knees to the ground. Come to child's pose. So big toes touch. Knees can touch or be apart. Sometimes feels good for the torso, the belly, the chest to have the knees apart. You can let your forehead either float over the ground or touch the earth. Arms can reach out in front of you. Maybe even walk your fingertips forward, right? So you feel the extension in your arms. And then once you do that, soften them. Let your shoulders slump forward towards the ground. If your forehead is on the earth, you can even rock it from side to side. And that place of contact right between the eyebrows, that's yet the space of another chakra. Your sixth chakra, the Anya chakra, it's the third eye. The seat of your intuition. That color it's associated with is violet. Reconnect with your breath after some of that vigorous movement. Maybe you notice prana churning, right? Prana is life force. Life force, think about it, your breath is what gives you life. Good. Begin to roll up. You can start to slide your hands toward your body. Very slowly move. Find the rounding of the back like we did in cat pose. And ripple your spine upward until your head is over your shoulders and your hips once again. Good. So we're going to go ahead, come to one hip, the other, sweep the legs out in front of you. To come to our seated staff pose, just for a moment, we're going to transition through. Or Dandasana, so the legs are active, flex at the feet, really lengthen along your spine. You'll be really tall. The hands can come right beside you. So my arms are such that my hands can touch on the ground, but maybe just your fingertips do, or maybe your arms float. I have a very short torso, so my hands touch the ground. Good. Let's inhale, reach upward. bend the knees, and we'll come to Navasana, boat pose. So you can stay right here. You can bring your hands to the ground behind the thighs for extra support. Press your torso towards the tops of your thighs. So here, these are two options right here. Hands can come behind you or behind the thighs. You can also lift the toes off the ground. You can still clasp the backs of the thighs. Try to spread your toes really wide while you're here. Flex your feet, spread your toes. Right there, so often stuck in shoes, spread your toes. Maybe even reach the arms forward, still balancing on the sit bones, right? The back part of the sit bones. Maybe even straighten the legs. So a few things for you to try. Try not to round the back. Keep pressing the torso forward, the heart upward, and then slowly lower down to the ground. Very slowly, you start to feel that resistance. I feel the shaking in my body until every part meets the earth again. Good. Bring your knees to your heart. Exhale, Apanasana. Knee to chest pose. Again, your hands can be behind your thighs or under your knee crease, around the front of your shin. Keep your feet flexed. If you'd like, you can rock from left to right. Kind of feels like a little massage sometimes, depending on the floor you're on, I suppose. And pause. Then bring your feet to the ground. Let your feet be wider than your hips. Remember, we visited this space earlier. Let your hips rock, your knees rock from side to side. Your shoulders, your back, the back of your head, they're all resting on the earth at this point. Rock your knees from side to side. And the next time your knees are both facing the left, let them just fall towards the left. Okay? Wherever it is you land. Your arms can come out to your shoulder height. You can even goalpost them like goddess arms, bend at the elbows. So you're coming into a reclined twist. Relax wherever it is you are. Feel the softness on the front side of your body, in front of your heart, in front of your belly. Notice any spaces of tension you might still be holding on to. Take those deep, long breaths. Let it clear out. Inhale in peace and calm. And exhale out any of those bits that don't belong there anymore. And then the next time you inhale, come to bring the knees to sway from side to side again. Good. Back and forth. Back and forth. And now this time, when they reach the right side, let both of your knees gently fall towards the right. Let them fall wherever it is they are, right? Without manipulating them. Let them just land gently. And again, notice this side. Notice if there were any shifts or changes. Breathe in anything you wish to call to. And then breathe out anything you feel ready to let go. Good. Inhale. You can let your legs sway from side to side once again. And now the next time both of your knees come towards the middle, pause there and let both feet slide all the way down. Good. We're coming to Shavasana. You've made it here. Your arms can come down by your side without actually touching the sides of your body. And try scooping your shoulder blades in towards one another. Press your heart upward. Let your feet splay out into both directions, left and right. Let them soften. Maybe it feels good to Gently rock from side to side on your hips, or even let your head rock from side to side. So you find the one spot in the middle. Take a deep inhale in. Feel your heart rise, and then let it go. Now let your breath start to become more natural. One by one, give each part of your body permission to soften and to relax. And in your mind's eye, remember we touched our forehead to the ground, the Anya, our third eye chakra. Bring your inner focus to that space with your eyes closed. And then imagine in your mind's eye that you're looking into a mirror and you see your reflection. And in your reflection, you notice all of the most wonderful, amazing things about yourself. You see the shape of your eyes, your lips. You see the skin and all the pores in it. You see the cut of your hair, the shape of your shoulders. And then you can see even further in than what just the eyes can see. What are the characteristics you're most proud of? What are the things that you love most about yourself? It can be silly. It can be the way you laugh. It can be the way you walk. It can be the way you care. What are those things? Bring one hand to rest right over your heart. And then bring the other hand over it. And all of those incredible qualities about yourself. Let them gather all right at your heart space. This place that houses your love, your compassion, your joy, and all of those things mixed together. Know that that's where they live, and that they're always there. You can always find them. Breathe. And for the next few moments, rest. Really rest. And I'll bring you back in just a little bit. If you've drifted off, bring your awareness back into the physical space that you're in. Draw it closer. Bring your awareness back into your body. And then begin to invite energy to grow. Grow from your smallest of spaces in your innermost parts. And then let that energy grow and grow and grow until it extends out into your torso, into your arms. And then start to feel that energy manifest as movement in your fingers and in your toes. Give them a little wiggle. Roll your ankles and roll your wrists. And if it feels good, bring your legs together, point your toes, reach your arms overhead, take a long stretch. And then as you exhale, start to roll over onto one side, return to Garbhasana, return to that pose of rebirth. Bring your knees in close to your heart. You can rest your head on one arm. Let the other arm drape along your heart space. And pause just for a moment here. Pause for a moment in the energy of loving and caring and kindness and compassion that's living in the heart space. All of the characteristics that you found in yourself and traveled to that place before. And feel a sense of gratitude for all of the things that make you you. And then without opening the eyes just yet, use your next inhale to press yourself up into any comfortable seated position, right? Any comfortable way of sitting in your body. So just before we part, keep sitting, keep breathing, keep the eyes closed. I just want to share with you a poem from Rupi Kaur's Homebody. It's not quite a poem, but it's a list of things to heal your mood, she writes. 1, cry it, walk it, write it, scream it, dance it out of your body. 2, if after all that you are still spiraling out of control, ask yourself if sinking into the mud is worth it. 3, the answer is no. 4, the answer is breathe. 5, sip tea and feel your nervous system settle. 6, you are the hero of your life. 7, this feeling doesn't have power over you. 8, the universe has prepared you to handle this. 9, no matter how dark it gets, the light is always on its way. 10, you are the light. 11, walk yourself back to where the love lives. So whenever you need to lift your mood, do just that. Walk yourself back to where the love lives. I know that's right at the center of you. Bring your hands back to your heart in prayer pose to Anjali Mudra. And bow your head, bow your chin down towards your heart. It's a gesture of gratitude, but also a gesture of honor. So you bow in honor of yourself, bow in honor of those practicing together with you right now, bow in honor of all beings everywhere. And I bow to you. Thank you for the honor of practicing with you today, of leading you through this practice. May all beings everywhere be happy, be healthy, be free, and be at peace. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.